Welcome to a New Human podcast. This show is a place where we find out who we truly are and what we strive to be. Listen as we unravel current history and make our way to a new beginning. I am your host, Justin Klein. We have on Ellen Noble. Yes, last name Noble, like wise, angelic. I mean, look at her glowing right now. Ellen, we talked about where we wanted to start this story because this is your story. And I think that being said, I'm going to let you jump in with,
Right. Thank you. Thanks
yeah,
for having me. So, I was born in Waverly, Iowa, moved to Strawberry Point when I was 2 and lived there for all my growing up years. Jumping into the later teen years, when I was 17, I got pregnant and I married my first husband in March of our senior year of high school. We were both seniors.
accidentally, like pregnant. I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
yeah, big
Oh,
accident.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And both my parents were school teachers in our school district, so
Oh,
yeah,
oh,
it was a little bit of a scandal, I guess, or
yeah.
that kind of thing. But it actually, I remember the day that we got married, and I packed up my little suitcase because all I took was my clothes. It was all I had, my school books. Walked out the door, and I did not shed one tear. I was so glad to be out from under that roof. My dad was really hard on me. My parents were both emotionally unavailable, and I was starting a new life.
Wow.
So we got married in March, and Jason, our son, was born on June 6th, which is my birthday. So I
Six,
turned,
six.
yep, 6 6.
Yeah.
I turned 18 the day that my son was born. We grew up together, spent the first 4 years of the marriage in Cedar Falls. Dwayne, my first husband, went to college there, and it was wonderful. We had no money, but it was wonderful. And then we moved to his hometown, which is in Northeast Iowa, and it was horrible. It went from us being a team to him being it. And I was just expected to just stay home. And I'm not exaggerating when I say this, and some people might think that I am, but I had no friends there. It was a town of 300 people, and I didn't have one single person that I could call.
Where was this at again?
Lamont.
Lamont. Yeah,
Mhm.
small town.
Very small town. Strawberry Point, Arlington, Lamont
Yeah,
were what made up the Starmont School District.
right,
So I literally was alone.
right.
We had our daughter Kirsten while we were there. She is she was 5 years younger than her brother, so that was a joyous occasion. Had our boy, had our girl.
Right.
I think at one point I actually had a breakdown of sorts because I lost time. One minute I was sitting in front of the front door of our house crying, and then the next thing I remember is I was standing at the sink eating cold Chef Boyardee ravioli out of the pan with my fingers. And at that point, I said to myself, "Wait, whoa, whoa, you can't, you can't go to a padded cell right now.
Right,
You
right.
have these 2 little kids who depend on you." And their dad was off, making his name and, working and all of that. And,
You're just doing womanly,
yep,
motherly figure. I
yep.
mean,
And that was hard for me.
yeah.
That was hard for me. So I did have a couple of little jobs while we were there, but then in 1986 we moved to Cedar Rapids. We moved
Mhm.
to Marion,
Okay,
and that was a life changer.
okay.
I felt like things were going to be okay,
Right.
and they were. I ended up going back to college because I didn't get to do that when I was 18. My dream was to sing professionally, to sing professional opera. And so it was important for me to go back to school and get that degree.
Is that so opera, like, was that music and singing from the get-go, teenage years, kids, you're always just singing?
Yes, always singing. My mom even said that when I was little, I was singing before I could talk
Okay.
and harmonizing before I could talk. But I didn't really realize I could sing until I was in about 8th grade. And then after that, it was all singing.
Yeah. Like,
Um,
singing as in, like, 8th grade, you thought you were good? Or what?
I was good.
Yeah, no, yeah, I'm saying,
I
like,
think that's when I
when
realized,
you
"Oh,
realize,
wow,
"Dang,
you
I
know
got a
what?
good
I've got
voice."
something here."
Yeah, yeah, you're finally
Yeah.
stepping into something.
Yes, and that was really honestly, Justin, when I think about that, now that you say it like that, that was
Yeah.
the first time I felt like I really started to understand me a little bit better.
Like, kinda, like, I'm thinking of, like, purpose. You're like,
Yeah.
"Man, I have this beautiful voice,
Yes.
like, people need to hear this. I just can't
Yes.
hold this to myself. It's a
Right.
gift that needs to be heard."
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I really felt that way. And anytime I would sing, whether it was church or a wedding and, whatever it was, I always reminded myself that this is not me singing, it's coming through me.
Really?
This is not of me, it's through me.
Mhm.
And I always prayed that little prayer, let me stay humble. Let me
Right.
touch people with this gift that I have.
How old were you when you said you think, like, when you remembered saying that, or, like, "It's a gift that's coming through me, it's not really me, it's just coming through me."
Probably high school, probably,
Really?
yeah, because I would get so nervous.
Hey.
When I was singing a solo and my kneecaps would literally shake, I would wear, like, dresses that covered my knees or pants because my knees would literally vibrate up and down, and I'm like, "Okay, well, if I take me out of it and,
Right.
say, well, this is God doing it and singing through my vessel," which ties into what we do now. Yeah, it made it less about me.
Right. Took the pressure off of you,
Absolutely, yes.
because now
Yes.
it's just, you, and I think we talk about this now, it's easier for us to talk about it now that we're just vessels,
Mhm.
and these magical gifts are working through us
Yeah,
because that's what we're here to do.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so I went back to school, got my degree, graduated with honors, applied for graduate school down at the University of Iowa. I was accepted for vocal performance, and shortly after my birthday, which is June 6th, I found out in a rather startling way that my husband of 15 years at that point and my best friend of 20 years had been having a 3-year-long affair. And that
Yeah.
destroyed me.
And you were mid-20s, you're
No,
saying?
I was 30,
Oh, this
early
was you said
30s.
15 years, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, so then it was the big decision, what do I do? And I was terrified.
Right.
Had these kids.
How old are the kids now?
Let's see, Jason was 10 and Kirsten was no, is that right?
So old enough.
Kirsten was Kirsten was 10, Jason was 15.
Okay.
Yeah, so they knew about all of it from the get-go because
Before you knew, you think?
no, well, no, no, no.
Okay.
Um, but my then husband and my son, our son, were in Canada fishing, and so I had to call them, and Kirsten, our daughter, was right there with me when I found out even. So it was like there was no brushing it under the rug or not, having the kids know what was going on, which
Right.
I think was actually probably healthier than none of it was healthy.
Less
Yeah,
casualties.
less casualties.
Yeah.
So that literally was the darkest point of my life.
Yeah.
I really felt like I had nowhere to turn. I had no one to turn to.
Closer.
My best friend
Yeah.
betrayed me. My husband betrayed me.
That's what I was just gonna get at. The worst, I mean, it's one thing catching your partner
Mhm.
cheating on you and
Yeah.
that's it, but then you add in one of who you thought was your best
Yeah.
friend,
Yeah.
and I'm sure this has happened many, many times
Oh,
across the world,
all for yes.
Yeah, but you lose that, it's just not losing one person, you're losing
Mhm.
2 very, very important people that you thought were important in your life, and they were, it's just, it's
Well, that they thought I was important.
right,
And clearly, in my mind then, I was not.
right,
So there was a lot of shame on my part that I carried with that. So I didn't tell very many people,
right.
but decided to stay in the marriage, stayed in the marriage for 15 more.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, shit,
Yeah.
this is getting juicy.
I know, right? So we got married at 17 and 18 and divorced when I was 48.
Wow.
And he would have been 48 as well. So a
'Cause you
lot.
were in high school together or whatever,
Yes.
seniors,
Yep.
yeah.
We were seniors when we
But
got married.
48 to 18, that's, yeah, 30 years and 15 of it you knew?
I did.
So what happened to the friend, the
Oh,
second 15?
see?
Okay.
She was immediately out of my life.
Right, and
Yeah.
then obviously, that you and him worked some things out, had to have if you stayed with him another 15 years.
Definitely got
Yeah,
into therapy immediately, and that
right.
that was a lifesaver for me. I was much more invested in it than he was, but that's just kinda his.
So when that happened, and then if you could go to like year 10 after that happened, there's no way you could have fully trusted him again, could you have?
Never.
Yeah, right.
Mm-mm.
So did you like somewhat feel like in prison a little bit, or was it not as bad and it was like, this is tolerable. I mean, I can make dues of what I got right here.
Mhm.
Or how were you feeling in that particular moment?
Vacillated a lot. There are times that, I mean, when we got married, of course, we had nothing.
Right.
And when we got divorced, we laughed because his lawyer said, what did each of you bring to the marriage when we
Right.
got married?" And Dwayne and I looked at each other and laughed, and
Our
and
shoes
and
and
he's
clothing?
like, "What is so funny?" And I said, "I brought my English book, he brought his math book."
Yeah.
So by the time we divorced, he was making very, very good money. So leading up to that, though, there were some lean years and the growing pains and all of that. And we it was I vacillated between I can do this to I can't do this. I
Right.
can't do this. Really feel, Justin, and this might sound a little bit dramatic, but I really feel that had I stayed in that marriage, I would have died. I would have manifested an illness and I
Mhm.
would have died. So when I decided and I made the decision and I of course was the bad guy and I'm like, guilty as charged. I'm out of here. But it was
Was it like spur of the moment, or was it
no.
like kinda writings on the wall, like, "This needs
Yeah.
done"?
Yeah, kind of the
Yeah.
writing was on the wall. He looked
Right.
at me at one point and he said, "We're done, aren't we?" or something to that effect.
Yeah.
And I just said, "Yeah, that sounds cold," but I had
Right.
already grieved it.
Right.
I grieved the marriage for many, many years, even prior to the infidelity. They say sometimes we marry our parents.
Mhm.
He was also very emotionally unavailable,
Yeah.
just like my mom and my dad were.
Funny
Yeah.
how that works,
Funny
right?
how that works, right?
Yeah, you just keep manifesting the same people in your life,
Yes, yes,
you
the
know?
same lessons,
Uh-huh.
yes. So then I met my second husband, who was a roller coaster ride of a whole different sort,
Different vibe.
uh, full-on narcissist.
Yeah.
Did not know that until I left that marriage, which was, we were together 14 years, married 9 of the 14.
That's still a
It's a long
pretty
time.
lengthy
Yeah,
time.
after we divorced, criticism kept coming to me.
Mhm.
Podcasts,
Yeah.
articles, everywhere, and I'm like, "Okay, I'm supposed to pay attention to this."
Right.
So I started reading about narcissism, and I'm like, "Oh, wow,
Yeah.
that's what this was." So the blessing in that is I now help so many people who
Yeah.
are in narcissistic
For
relationships
sure.
because I know what
You
it
know what it feels
feels like.
like. Yeah.
It's crazy making. I mean, it
Uh-huh.
absolutely makes you feel like you're crazy,
Yeah.
but that's their jam. I mean, that's what they want.
Right.
So that was, and I'm like, all right. So, because sometimes you look back and you're like, why did I make
Mhm.
that decision?
Right.
Ellen, weren't there red flags? Yes,
Yeah.
there were red flags,
Right.
but I needed to learn because that's part of my path.
Right. Everybody's different, like,
Hmm.
you're learning speed and you're learning lesson,
Yes.
like, it's just. I mean, we were just talking before this podcast with me and mine, my lesson, it was like, wasn't upon me that I had to relive it one last time through older eyes,
Uh huh.
But before we jump too further ahead here, I wanna, like, go into some of those time because that was. I mean, you just rattled off, like, 60 years there real quick with relationships, but during that time, back to music side of it, when you were after you were done with Iowa and music, and then, let's say, like, middle of your career, did you make money off of music? Or since you're going to college, I mean, most kids today, it's like, "Well, hey, you go to college, you need to something to pay for this,"
Right.
like, it's rare to find somebody doing what they just love to do,
Yeah.
especially going to school for it. What was your career like as far as singing goes, or was there any big events, or what happened
Yeah.
there?
Well, after I graduated and I found out about the infidelity, I that was in June and then I started graduate school in August. I completed a full semester and I think if I'm remembering right, this it gets kind of shady in my memory. I'm kind of foggy. I think I started my second semester with my master's degree in voice and then I'm like I can't sing. My heart was devastated. You can't sing. I can't sing when my heart is just
Hurting.
yes. I mean, I was
Yeah.
I was really, really, really in bad shape at that point.
Yeah.
So I quit school and literally laid on the couch for a while. And then I got hired at College in Cedar Rapids, my alma mater, as the director of the alumni house that they were just opening up. So I did that for a couple years, and that got boring.
Yeah.
And for me, I like to be stimulated. I like to be learning all the time. And if something gets boring, it's the kiss of death. It's like,
Right.
okay, I got to
Right.
do something different. So again, I quit my job, laid on the couch for a while, and then I got a phone call from a lady who asked me. She had been referred to me by my voice teacher,
Mhm.
said to me, I have a daughter. She's, I don't know how old she was, maybe 15 at that point. Would you teach her voice lessons?
Yeah.
And I said, yes.
Yeah.
And then I looked at the phone like, what did you just do?
Yeah.
So I taught voice lessons for probably 12 years, 11, 12 years, private voice lessons.
Yeah.
Did really well. Start with one student and then down the road a couple years, you have a waiting list of 25.
And how, if you don't mind me asking, like, what is something you do to teach voice lessons? Like, I have no idea what you do. Like, can you elaborate a little bit on that or touch like a few tricks if somebody wants to
Sure.
hear how to get a quick little voice lesson from Ellen? Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, for one thing, I was trained classically
Okay.
to use my voice that way.
Okay.
If you and I trained my kids that way, and I had adults, I had all ages, and I always said, if you learn how to sing classically, you can sing anything, but sing it in a healthy way so you don't develop nodules or vocal problems, things like that, bad habits. So basically when you sing you kind of have to, if you think about taking the throat out of it and place the voice like behind the mask of the face,
Okay.
so it's like your voice kind of rides above the roof of your mouth. It
Right.
doesn't get nasal because you got a lot of open space in here. Your
Okay.
throat is open, but then it stays one voice. Have you heard people sing before that, like, they in one part of their voice, it sounds like one person, and then in the other part, it's like, "Okay, now who's here now?" The way that I taught, it integrates the voice, so it's
Okay.
all the same voice. And breathing. You do yoga.
Right.
You know
Right.
the yogic
Oh,
breath?
for sure. Yeah.
That's the singer's breath.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Yeah, that would be hard, and I've seen, well, like, movies on it, like, like, guy that's coming to mind right now is, Freddie Mercury.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, his mouth and, like, his voice was so powerful, but it was like, with him, he sounds the same in, like, every song,
Yep.
and then there's some artists out there that change their voice, like you said, but their careers aren't very long because you can only mimic something for so long.
Right, yes.
The mask is finally has to come off,
Right.
so it's like, "All right, let's hear what you really got."
Yeah, for sure,
Yeah, and I
for
could see
sure.
where you would strain your voice for not being authentic.
That's right.
Yeah,
And your voice is like a snowflake. I mean, it's like we are. Every
right,
voice is unique.
right,
So I would tell my students as well, and I tell my clients now, be you.
right.
Sing with your voice because nobody else is like that, and nobody else is like you. Nobody else is like me. We're all walking our
Yeah.
paths differently, singing different songs, and
Do you find, like, you sound differently, though, like, when you hear yourself, like, on a recording, versus, like, "Oh, I sound like that?" Like, that's
mhm,
weird,
mhm.
you know?
Yeah, totally. And so when I did my senior recital for my bachelor's degree, I had like 18 pieces of music in 5 different languages, and I felt so good about it. It was a real accomplishment. It all had to be memorized, and I didn't listen to my recording of it for probably 6 months. And then I think I probably only listened to it like 1 or 2 times because didn't I felt so good about it, and I know myself well enough, it's like, you're gonna pick it apart, and I didn't wanna do that. So, yeah, I mean, it is different to hear you.
So what happened the first time you listened to it then? Did you pick yourself
I made
apart?
myself not.
Okay.
I made myself not. I just
Yeah,
was kinda like, "Nope, nope, nope, nope."
yeah.
Just listen, just listen. Listen as if you're listening to someone
So
else.
in the different languages, you didn't have to, like, study a new language or anything, or was it just, like, you memorized it so much that it just became a part of your subconscious mind, essentially?
I did take a year of French and a
Oh,
year of German.
okay.
We are taught to sing Latin just
Yeah.
kind of as singers if you're doing any kind of classical music. And then there's a class called Diction for Singers that teaches you the International Phonetic Alphabet,
Okay.
where every sound has a symbol. So you can phoneticize everything, even if you don't know the language. And then you can pronounce it. And it's cool. And I loved it because I like puzzles. And so it was like, ooh, this is a puzzle.
Right.
So yeah, that was fun for me.
Wow.
Yeah. And then over the years, I did a lot of stuff at Theater Cedar Rapids and, places like that
Like
too.
individually or like with a group or
Yeah, like
symphony or
shows.
yeah.
Yeah, like I did Barnum and Second Street and oh my gosh, there were Secret Garden. There were many of them that I
Yeah.
participated in, and that was a lot of fun too.
Wow.
Yeah. So it became more and now I think of it more as oh, it's always gonna be a part of me, but it's more of a hobby of sorts.
Did you ever get bored with it or like you
No, that's not
mastered
true.
this? I'm thinking of myself, like I've had a lot of hobbies that I had turned into careers and they only go so far because then I lose my passion and love for it. And it was like, oh, that's kind of and that was another life, you
Yeah,
know?
right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but did that happen with music with you?
It kinda happened more not with my singing, but more with the teaching.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you get tired of teaching.
I did,
Yeah.
and then I became transient. My second husband, is from Oklahoma,
Okay.
and so I became transient between Cedar Rapids, Oklahoma, and Nashville,
Okay.
where in Nashville, I got to sing with the symphony chorus there, which was
Ama
mind-blowing cool.
Oh, yeah.
Mind-blowing cool. But the teaching then you can't teach if you're not there full time. So I kinda
Right.
let that go by the wayside, but then I also at that point, my daughter-in-law and I had a yoga studio in Cedar Rapids together.
You and your
So
daughter.
my daughter-in-law.
Oh, daughter-in-law.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, and then, when I moved to Oklahoma full time, I had a yoga studio there with another gal that so I was already kinda moving
Into
in
yoga?
that. Yeah,
Yeah, so you
mhm,
went from, like, music and then
mhm.
you jumped into yoga?
They overlapped.
Okay.
Yeah, they overlapped.
Right. How did you get into yoga?
Well, I was looking in the newspaper one day and I noticed that Mercy Hospital in Cedar Rapids was offering yoga classes. So I said to my then husband, my first husband, will you take a yoga class with me?
Right.
And he said, I will take a yoga class with you if you'll take an internet class with me. Cause this is when the internet was still like, all
Yeah.
new and,
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
mysterious and stuff. I'm like,
Cool.
sure I will. Took yoga.
Was it what you were expecting or no?
I didn't know quite what to expect, but I will tell you this. When I first started learning yoga, I wasn't learning it, I was remembering it. At one point, I'm like, why do I just know how to do this?
Yeah.
And I even had one of my teachers say that to me.
Mm.
She's like, you just know this, don't you? And I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
And then my teacher at Mercy became ill with Lyme disease and had to quit teaching. So this is 6 months into me starting to take yoga classes. Mercy Hospital asked her if she could recommend somebody to teach.
I was just getting ready to
Guess
like what you're
yeah,
teaching now yoga too?
guess who
Yeah.
she said.
Yeah.
And of course I said, "Yes." So I just started teaching what I learned from my teacher.
Right.
And then I'm like, I really should probably get certified in this at some point.
Yeah.
So I went and did that, and Teresa and I did that whole journey together.
Right.
Um, but yeah.
Teaching. So you're a teacher.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, for many years.
Wow. That's crazy.
My parents are both teachers.
Well, it's not crazy.
Well, but I said to myself, "I am not.
Yeah, I'm not
I am
them.
not going to be a
Never.
teacher."
Never.
Yeah, what do I do?
Uh-huh.
But
Yeah.
in my own way,
Yeah.
but in my own way.
So I could see what happened here. You were singing and then you overlapped or you were moonlighting with yoga, developing a new passion or remembering a new passion and start going into that avenue where I'm sure other avenues
Mm,
came into play. Is there another in particular that crosses?
Reiki,
Yeah, Reiki.
Reiki, and I don't remember I remember my first session vividly, but I
Okay.
don't remember how you've met Gia.
Yeah, yeah.
It was with her. I don't remember how I got steered toward her.
Right.
But I remember that very first session, and at the end of it, when when you sit down and talk
Yeah.
afterwards. I remember thinking, "Oh, this is so cool.
Right.
I wish I could do this.
Yeah.
This would be so cool to do this." And then
Uh-huh.
voila,
Yeah.
then Teresa and I went through the Reiki 1, 2, and
Right.
master teacher together, and the rest of that is history. Of
Yeah.
course, I didn't use it for a lot of many years other than family and friends, and
Right.
um, then in Oklahoma, that's where, oh, this is so cool. Deep in the Bible Belt,
Yeah.
right? I have a yoga studio there, and then it's like the only reason I went there was for the man.
Right.
That was it.
Yeah. Just to
So
please
then,
this guy.
yep, then
How hold on. How did you get from Oklahoma? How did you were you, like, singing down there or something, or how'd you guys
no,
meet?
no. Kirsten was getting married, and her and I was getting divorced. She was not happy. She was very displeased with the whole situation. So she wanted to have her bachelorette party in Nashville. And I am rolling my eyes like, really? Can we go to Des Moines? You know, we have to go to Nashville.
Yeah.
And we did. In the course of that evening, I had noticed Terry and didn't say anything to anybody. And I look over and Kirsten has him by the arm and she's doing this to me. And I'm like,
Oh.
what is going on? And she calls me over and she says, Mom, this is Terry. Terry, this is my mom. And then she left. So she introduced us and we danced and talked and, had a really good time. So that one thing led to another and he came up to Cedar Rapids to see me a couple weekends later. And then that was that.
And he was from Oklahoma.
He was from
So that's
Oklahoma.
how you met. So then you go back to
Yes.
Oklahoma.
We started out in Nashville. I ended up buying a house there and we were going to make that home base. I kept my home in Cedar Rapids all the years that he and
Right.
I were together. I kept a home in Cedar Rapids. Had shut down his business in Oklahoma. We were going to make Nashville home base, and his son Trevor, at that time, had started a helicopter flight school charter business.
Okay.
Terry and his son Trevor were both rotor and fixed wing pilots. So, this is leading in another direction. Terry was going to help Trevor in that business.
Mhm.
So, about a year after Terry and I met, a little over a year, Trevor was killed in a helicopter accident.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. Yes. So, that all went by the wayside, the school and everything. That's a long, long story.
Right, but
So,
you're married at this point?
no,
No,
no, we're still just
just dating or whatever,
dating. Yeah,
yeah.
together.
But his
So,
son died, though, when
yeah,
you were dating?
yes.
Wow, and I'm sure that was very difficult to go through.
It was horrible.
Yeah.
It was horrible. There were extenuating circumstances with that as well because my name was on the helicopter that he was killed in because I co-signed his loan for him because his dad's credit was bad.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So I got questioned by the
Authorities or
Yes, I
whatever.
did. Yep, I did.
Uh-huh.
Had to get the wreckage out of this beautiful ravine that he had crashed into. He got caught in straight line winds and
Mhm.
it pushed him into high wires. So, and he took 2 other souls with him. So it was,
How was dad during this? Because I mean, if you're boyfriend and girlfriend and then you lose your son, again, we were gonna go into this,
yeah.
I'm reading the future right now,
Oh, yeah.
but, I couldn't imagine losing a kid and then your just girlfriend and boyfriend maybe, like, wanting to move forward in your future and you see this yourself marrying this man, but it's like, is this guy gonna how did he cope with losing his son?
Well, Trevor was, they were best friends. They
Mhm.
were kind of clones of each other. Trevor was a much better person than his father.
Right.
He was just oh God, he was a cool kid.
Yeah.
Really, really, really exceptional human being and a gifted musician.
Really.
That's why Terry and I were both at the same place on the night that we
Right.
met. Trevor was playing with the band that was playing.
Ah,
Oh, yeah, just
cool.
just a awesome human being.
Yeah.
A real loss, a real
Right.
loss. And so there was, yes, I mean, shock. We were actually on an airplane we were at DFW in Dallas, getting ready to fly to LA and then fly to Hawaii to meet
Y
friends. And the plane, this is how the universe works. This is how God works. The
Right.
plane got delayed because they couldn't close the undercarriage where the luggage goes. And Terry had just looked at me and said, "Well, I hope we make our connection in LA." And I said, "Well, we will or we won't." And his phone rang and it was his daughter, Aubrey. And I knew the minute
Something was
that
happening.
something was bad. And I also knew we had to get off that airplane like right now. So we literally picked up our things and walked off. And it was cool. The flight crew, everybody, including the pilots, because I said we just found out his son was killed in a helicopter crash. They followed us up the jetway and had tickets in our hands back to Nashville. I mean, it was miraculous how it
Right.
all fell together. But Terry, and he did say this because I mean, we had been together long enough that he knew how I felt about my spirituality
Mhm.
and death and life after death and things like that.
'Cause you're already on that road,
Oh
right?
yeah.
Yeah,
Oh yes,
and
deep on that road.
was he too or no? Or
No.
just learning about it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, but he did say when, he said, If you had not been in my life and I had lost Trevor, this would have been a whole different journey."
there you go.
Yeah, and we had some supernatural things happen around that too that are
Right.
very, very cool. Yeah, so, yes, that's how I ended up in Oklahoma. He had to go back and open his business again. I wanted to stay in Nashville because 'cause I'm singing with a world-class chorus,
Of course you do.
and I've got this awesome little house and
Yeah.
yeah, so,
So sell Nashville house, move to Oklahoma?
kept the Nashville house
Okay.
for a lot of many years.
Yeah.
His daughters were there, 2 of his daughters were there, and so when we went to visit them, we would
Stay there.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So Oklahoma, I found this amazing mystery school,
Yeah. What do you mean mystery
like
school?
like like teaching, like, esoteric stuff.
Really?
It's where I learned past life regression.
In Oklahoma.
Yes, yes.
I can envision that in
I
Oklahoma.
know. I was like, "Okay." I did come here, the guy got me here. But wow, now I have the gift of this my cool yoga studio, and now I have the gift of this amazing school.
Yeah.
So I did a lot of study there. Yeah, so that was
What was, your favorite subject, I guess, of learning?
well, I loved the I was intrigued by past life regression for a long time.
Right.
Dr. Brian Weiss's book, Many
Yeah.
Lives, Many Masters, and
Yeah,
I
I've read
read it,
that,
and I
yeah.
was like, "I think I'm supposed to do this, but I don't know how that's gonna look." So, you just kind of put it
Right.
on the back burner, and then here they're offering it. So I loved that.
Yeah.
There was also, one that we took the scriptures from the main religions of the world
Right.
and put them side by side and
Right.
compared them, the Bible and the Torah and the
Yeah.
Quran and, all of the things. That was super cool.
While seeing the synchronicities in
Uh-huh.
them and
Yeah.
it all
All of the
lining
all
up.
it all lines up.
Isn't that crazy? Like, even with religion, if you get outside of your box a little
Mhm.
bit, and whether it's Hinduism or Buddhism
Mhm.
or Christianity or
Mhm.
Zoroastrianism,
Right.
whatever it is, it doesn't matter.
Right.
There's so many similar stories, whether it was, Jesus or Buddha or Krishna,
Yeah.
or you know what I mean?
I do.
They have the same thing going on,
Same
just some,
message.
yeah, different names.
Yeah.
And it's like, I think about that quite often, like, is there something out there that's like all of that, but with no names and it's not religion, but then it's like, are you creating another religion essentially? Or what is it?
Uh-huh.
You know?
Uh-huh.
What do you think?
I think well, I have a sticky note that is on my desk in my home office that says, "No one religion owns God." And
Yes.
I love, love, love,
Yes.
love that.
Yeah.
I think it's pure energy. I think it's the
Right.
God energy that defies a box. You
Mhm.
can't put God in a box, so you can't
It's
set
everywhere.
it in a pew. You can't you can't
Put it in a building.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. And I
Uh-huh.
also think that sometimes I think about, like, if we all liked the same flavor of ice cream,
Boring.
it would be boring and it would be all gone.
Right.
So, there are many pathways to God. There are many pathways, many doors to my Father's house. And,
Yeah.
we aren't all going to get there in the same way. How could we?
Right.
With all the different cultures and
So the past life regression,
mhm.
explain to our listeners about that a little bit. As in, I mean, I think many people that listen to this podcast and other people know the idea of it, but how does one access it?
It's really cool.
Yeah.
And the way that I was taught in Oklahoma got deepened when I took my classes to become a certified hypnotherapist.
So it's through
It
hypnosis.
is through hypnosis.
Yeah.
You take I get you relaxed.
Right.
Say we're going to take you on a journey, on a past life regression. Get you relaxed, do kind of a head to toe thing, take you through a timeline.
Yeah.
Like I'd say, Justin, how old are you now? Well, then
Yeah.
we'd go back through the next decade and the next decade, and then
Yeah.
we go back through birth and to the other side. And then a lot of times I'll have you stand at a door because it engages all of the senses. What
Yeah.
does the door look like? What is your door made of? What does the texture of it look like? Put your hand on whatever it opens and closes. What does that feel like in your hand? So you're engaging all of the senses.
So it's through hypnosis. Have you ever had somebody that not experience it, or like, "Oh, this is just too woo-woo crazy shit for me. There's no way I can," or is
Yeah,
it most of the time just pretty natural?
most of the time, it's pretty natural, but I have had people and
Like resisted.
my best advice is don't overthink it.
Right.
If something pops into your head,
Right.
just start talking about it.
Right.
Because I had one lady that was like, "Yeah, I'm not seeing anything or I'm not feeling anything." And I explained that when I say you might see something, it's not like looking at a picture. It can be an image in your mind or it can be a thought. For me, when I see things, it's more a thought or an impression.
Right.
Sometimes I see pictures, but a lot of
Yeah.
times it's just there.
Something that
Yeah.
resonates with you, a
Yeah.
tone.
So, if you're all of a sudden you see the ocean, start talking about the ocean,
Mhm.
and then it'll start to kind of unravel
Right.
and go and then I move you along the timeline.
It's kinda like I'm hearing quicksand, like you
Mhm.
you go in and then it starts pulling you in a little bit,
Mhm.
and then you just start going with
Yeah,
it, and then next thing you know, you're not aware of being hypnotized because
exactly.
you're just falling, and then you just keep opening up the next door,
Yeah.
and then you wanna go there, and then you
Yes.
wanna go there.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah,
It is a lot like that. I did
yeah.
have one lady that said, "Oh, I'm not getting anything. I'm not seeing anything." And so, then I'll say, "Take some deep breaths. Let's walk down a staircase." I mean, there are tricks
Right, right,
to
you have
deepen, but she at the very end, and we're sitting talking after I brought her up and out of hypnosis. She's like, "Yeah, well, I just kept seeing this blah 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 and this blah blah blah." I'm like, "That's
Yeah.
what I was asking you for."
So can you see what they're seeing?
No.
No.
No, in fact, I literally turn off my intuition during this because I am the guide.
Okay.
It's not mine to.
Right. You're just leading them, but
Yep.
you're not seeing what they're seeing. You're just asking certain questions so they can carry on their journey. And
Yes.
what it's reminding me of a lot of right now is a really, really good teacher.
Mhm.
Like you have teachers that make you do the work, that make you question things, and then they actually become your teacher.
Right.
And now we're back on teaching with your
Yeah.
parents, and you were teaching yoga, and now we're doing hypnotherapy. Do you see where we're
I
You're a
absolutely,
teacher.
I am a
Yeah,
teacher.
yeah, you're a
I
teacher.
absolutely am a teacher.
Wow. So when they um, come back, when you bring them back from
Mhm.
hypnosis and they just experience, let's just say, a life. I'm going to go with Egypt because that's
Yeah.
where I've been. And we're in Egypt and we're unpacking. And I was this certain prince, and I held this certain staff, and I had a
Mhm.
family of two, and there was this. When they start unpacking all that stuff, then do you use like your gifts, like intuition, on helping them unravel what just happened?
Sometimes I do. It depends on the client. Depends on, some people are just curious. Some people don't really have a purpose other than I just think it sounds cool. But if they are on purpose, and I always take copious notes and then I give them a copy of the notes so that they can go back and reread them. And then my door is open.
Right.
They've got my
Information.
information, they've got my
Yeah.
phone number,
Yeah.
because things are going to bubble up.
Right, because, like, it's really I remember my beginning, it's hard to wrap your head around this stuff, but once you start getting in tune with it and realizing, like, some of our past lives, whether you believe in reincarnation or not, there are selves, there are
Hmm.
generations of stuff, that traumas that
Yes.
you inherit, that you are
Yes.
just it's there, and might not have any idea, well, why does my family, I'm gonna just go with women, breast cancer. Why I'm the 8th generation of breast cancer
Right.
right now,
Right.
like, why?
Mhm.
You
Mhm.
know, and then you can go back to maybe it's something with a life where you're I mean, women, they've been abused and
Mhm.
tortured for eons, and it's
Mhm.
like, why do you think you have breast cancer,
Right.
because we're still living in fear of
Yeah.
this certain time frame,
Yes.
and I'm just starting to see it unravel now. So when they go back in that past life, let's say, and let's say well, that we're in breast cancer right now. Let's say this girl was raped or whatever, or, held at her own will and she did not want to be. And then this is a form of manifestation in this
Yeah.
life, where maybe in that life she visited and seen it like, no more, we're done with this. Like, I'm taking my control back. There will be no more rape and no more whatever on this world of women, and they take that control back and
Mhm.
heal it. So, maybe instead of radiation or you did it through a past life regression.
Yeah.
Have you seen that?
I have seen people heal more emotional things like that, like a generational wound that is like abuse, say, for
Right.
instance, rape,
Right.
um, sexual abuse, things
Right.
like that they can go back and find not necessarily like maybe the deepest source,
Right.
but find a source that goes deep enough that they can say, okay, I'm stopping this right
I
now.
understand it. Yeah.
And there are so many people on earth right now that are healing the generational wounds for their
Oh my
families. I mean, it's a
God.
big deal.
Yeah.
It really is.
I was just telling a client that was here a few moments before you got here. And I was telling her that I believe, like, this life, this current life that I'm living, I'm putting together all of my past lives
Mhm.
and really remembering who I am. And I think when it's time for me to leave this body, and same with other people, when their time is up and they're moving forward and on to the next chapter, that that's done. Now
Mhm.
you wanna come back into and reincarnate again.
Mhm.
It's you're going to be an upgraded version or a new consciousness
Right.
is what I feel and believe because there's, again, so many people are waking up right now to, like, "Holy shit." Like, "Listen to this."
Yeah.
You
Get
know?
a load of this.
It's crazy,
Yeah,
isn't
and
it?
I feel like and I felt this way. I mean, this life has been kind of it's been challenging. And I'm certainly not diminishing other people's challenges in their lives because we all have our challenges. But I feel very strongly in this life that and I giggle about it because I used to say to Terry, my second husband, that Trevor talked me into coming back. I didn't even have to come back. But
Yeah.
Trevor talked me into coming back because he's like, "Hey, my dad's going to need you and I'm going to be leaving early and so, and I'm like, "Oh, fine."
Right.
But then I look at the bigger picture and I'm like, "No, it's bigger than that. It's that this time in our history of evolution of the human being in general and the world and, everything in it, it's a big deal.
Yeah.
There's a lot of shit going on right now."
Right.
And I can see myself on the other side and them saying, "Hey, we really could use you. You don't have to go.
Right.
But we really, really could use you." And I'm like, "Okay, I'll go." But then it's like everybody, other souls around me going, "Yeah, but you really don't want to miss this, do you?" And I'm like, "No, I
Yeah.
don't. Fine, I'll go." So a lot of my life has been, I think we all ask the question, why am I here?
Yeah. Or
That's
who
just
am
a,
I?
yeah, or who am I? That's just a
Yeah.
standard thing. And
Right.
I look at current and I look at where I am now and I'm like, "Allah, it's this.
Yeah.
It's being here
Right.
now with our family, our
Our
tribe,
soul
our
family.
soul family. That's why."
How do you think one finds their soul family
Oh,
or oh,
it's oof. I don't think it's in our control. I
yeah,
truly do not. I
right,
think it just happens.
happens. But when you
Oh,
know.
yeah.
Yeah, without a question, like, I've known this person
Oh,
before, and
yeah.
I've had maybe a past life with you, experiences.
Numerous past lives.
Yes, and it's just like, It's an unconditional love, is what it is.
Yeah,
It's just
that
it's a
instant recognition. Like,
yeah.
I know you.
Yeah.
I know you. We've done this before.
Yeah. Isn't
Uh-huh.
it fun?
It's the coolest ever. It
Yeah.
really is.
Yeah. Well, I've really liked where we've been so far. I feel like I'm gonna steer you a little off course, even though we've been talking about your story, man, you've had a lot of experiences.
Yes, I have.
Yeah, and with that, I wanna go into so Trevor passed away.
Yes.
You were dealing with that grief and helping your second husband out right there.
Yes, and I had to help him again
Yes.
because his oldest daughter died of cancer 7 years later.
Oh, shit. So now
Yes.
another daughter,
Yes.
sibling, whatever.
Yes, so I've lost
2.
2 stepchildren, and she again was an absolutely stellar human being.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Mhm.
Is that what ended that relationship with you and your husband?
No, no, no.
Do you at this time when okay, so Trevor was gone and then now his daughter.
Yes, Kim.
Yeah, Kim, did you ask yourself during those moments, like, "What's going on here?"
I did.
Like, how okay, I meet this guy, we
Mhm.
lose his son, and now his daughter, like, is that it for children then?
For
As far as his?
He has 2 surviving daughters.
Okay, 2 surviving, but,
Mhm.
I mean, were you asking big questions
I
when
was
that
asking big questions
yeah.
because for my whole life, I had this weird fear of helicopters. I would see them in the sky and I'd be like, "Woo!" I would be freaked out.
Right.
Well, then, of course, as an adult, still married to my first husband, I took a helicopter ride, um, under duress,
Yeah.
but I did it, and it was like I'm like, "Oh, this is nothing."
Eh,
Well, then when Terry and I got together, we flew in a helicopter a lot because he had he
his
just yeah,
helicopter. Huh.
and Trevor and then I also have had that I had this fear of losing a child my whole life. And then so I'm parsing this all together, right, in my head, and I'm like, "Okay, well, that was the fear of helicopters." And I've now lost 2 stepchildren who I dearly loved, both of them. That had to be that.
That is very interesting. Like, so you were scared of helicopters, you were scared of losing children, and then it happens.
Yeah,
Like, it's I don't know, my brain's really turning right now as far as, like, manifesting or creating.
I think just knowing.
Yeah,
I think I just knew.
you knew.
I knew.
Wow.
I've known things my whole life,
Right,
and, it sucks when you're right sometimes.
right. Do you think there could have been any way to avoid it?
No, I don't because of our soul choices.
Yeah,
We I believe, not everybody does, but I believe that we contract to come and do certain things.
right,
And I also believe that we build in exit points.
right.
I had a car accident when I was 20. I believe that that was one of my exit points. I could have left. Trevor defied death many times. The kid was a walking accident ready to happen. But then, when it's time, it's time. And I do believe that. I don't believe that it's happenstance that one day we just die. I think it's all part of our plan. So no, I don't think it could have been avoided. I really
Yeah.
don't. And I know that I was supposed to be there.
So, that being said, like, moving forward, going into, like, was your daughter I wanna go into your daughter here next. Were you still married to him?
No,
No.
no, that was quite the journey because um, 2020 was an interesting year for me.
Well,
Um,
COVID.
well, yeah, that was interesting
You're
for
like,
all
"Well,
of
that
us.
that
That
didn't
was
even do
it.
anything, really."
Really?
No, like
Oh, yeah, that did happen.
Yeah, yeah.
Terry and I divorced in May. Kirsten and her husband divorced in July. My mom died the end of June.
Yeah, this is all 20.
This is all 2020. We
Wow.
were in the midst of the pandemic, and derecho hit Cedar
Oh
Rapids.
god, I forgot about that.
Uh,
Couple hailstorms too.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I mean, there was a lot.
Chaos.
And in the meantime, my daughter was ill. So fighting a long term undiagnosable or misdiagnosed illness.
wasn't cancer or anything
No.
like that?
No, it ended
No?
up being Lyme disease,
Oh, really?
and then she also was, toxic with mold. We all have a gene in us that mitigates mold from our system, or we wouldn't be able to even go outside. Kirsten had the gene, but it didn't work.
Right.
So she was exposed to black mold in this historic home that she and her husband, and their daughter lived in, and, she was told that 100 people could live in that house and not be affected by it, but she could not. So when you think about what does mold like? It likes dark, warm, moist. That's the human body. So her lungs were damaged. She had secondary infections of a lot of different kinds. She went to Arizona 2 times to a place called Invita, which I highly, highly, highly endorse. Wonderful place.
Is it like a hospital
Integrated
or what?
integrated medicine. So say you go to Invita for cancer. They do a very low dose of chemo, but then they do other things, like they'll do like what's called apheresis and cleanse your blood, and they'll do
Right.
alternative things along with the chemo. And people,
More like holistic? Yeah,
yes,
like,
just the integration
right.
of it, but so
Okay.
it's less damaging. So yeah, so she had been there twice, and it was one of those weird things that Kirsten was we were very, 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 very close, and I never saw her getting well. I didn't see her dying, but I didn't see her getting well, and I didn't really spend a whole lot of time with that because it was heavy, it was a lot. So, she became very reclusive, she was on full-time oxygen at this point, and she had, I have a friend who's an astrologer, and she's a very well-known astrologer now, but when she and I first started working together, no one knew her.
Yeah,
Her name's Rachel Lang, and she is fabulous if you want a good astrologer.
yeah.
But she, of course, had bonded with Kirsten as well, and so Kirsten had had her birthday's in October. She turned 40 in October, of that year of 21.
So your daughter,
Yeah,
what time period or, like, how is this long going that she's sick?
probably,
Like, year, 2, or
cumulative
6 months,
of
or
4 years,
4
maybe?
years?
Ups and downs. Ups and downs and ups and downs, and she'd get better for a while, and then, she would not be good again, and
Did you
so
know beforehand or anything? Like, did again, you're knowing back to the helicopters and the fear of losing a child, like, when she was getting sick, did you
no.
know something or
No,
no?
in fact, she would say to me, "Mom, am I dying? Am I dying?" I'm like, "No."
Eh,
But you know how it is when you're close to somebody, it's hard to read them,
yes, and
and
that's
I
where I
think it's
was
protective
it
too.
very yeah, I was just gonna go with that. I was also gonna ask you, did you favor her more or, cherish her more like it's her last days or whatnot? Did it ever get to that or no?
Well, it interestingly, that Christmas, my son and daughter-in-law and my 2 older granddaughters went out of town for Christmas, and I was not impressed with that.
Right,
In fact, I was very upset by it, but then Kirsten and Lila, my youngest granddaughter, came over on Christmas Day, and it was just the 3 of us.
right,
And we had the best day, and we ended up ordering Chinese food at the end of the night, and it was just a really, really good day. And Kirsten wasn't doing great. She had her oxygen machine with her, but, then I didn't see her again because, like I said, she became reclusive, and it was winter and, so she just would hole up. We talked
right,
every day, whether it was texting or talking, and so we were always communicating, but I didn't see her. But she had had her chart done by Rachel for her birthday, I think, that year, and Rachel said, "There's if you can just hang on until February 1st, there's big change coming in
right,
your chart." And Kirsten would say to me, Mom, I just have to make it to February 1st."
yeah.
She died on January 3rd.
Uh,
Yeah, yeah. So, yes, didn't I I knew that she was not doing great, but, it was a typical day. She just literally collapsed and died.
the day before or 2 days before, was she more spirited, more alive?
She didn't ever really complain a whole lot.
Mhm.
That last day we had communicated, and my great nephew was actually born on January 31st, the day
Okay.
she died. Earlier
Life
that
going out, life
day,
coming in.
that's right.
Mhm.
It was a joyful day. Connor came to Earth, and then Kirsten left. And it was a weird thing because I never got mad at God.
Mm.
Got mad at my mom,
Yeah.
which sounds funny, but mom had already crossed over and I just had this vision of her bringing baby Connor down and putting him in Jordan, my niece's arms, and then turning around and saying, "Come on, Kirst, let's go,"
Taking her.
and took her. And before, when I knew that she had collapsed, but I didn't know that she had, well, I did know. Down deep, I knew, but I hadn't heard that she was dead. I was talking to my mom, and I'm like, "No, no, nope, you get me first. You don't get her."
Right.
So I was more displaced anger probably, but yeah.
I mean, I can see it. I mean, when you just said that, I mean, I straight up watched the vision. Like I created my own
Yeah.
scene of seeing that
Yeah.
happen. And you could look at that one of, well, two different ways, or I can right now, where you're like, your mom's there helping her granddaughter cross over.
Yes.
And I mean, when it's our time to cross over, I sure hope my mom's there, or my grandma's there, or
Yeah.
somebody that,
Yeah.
and I know there will be somebody there for me,
Absolutely.
but I can see us being selfish too. Like, mom, why are you taking her?
Yeah.
It's
It's not
not her
her
time.
time.
Like, when is my time? It's no, not because
Yeah.
I feel many, many parents that are listening to this, and especially what you went through, just doing the same thing, like,
Mhm.
not my daughter, not my son, not now, like I'm
No.
going first.
Well, no, and I had lulled myself into this kind of false sense of security, I guess, thinking, I
Right.
lost Trevor, I lost Kim. Now they weren't
Uh-huh.
mine by birth,
Eh,
but I loved them.
for sure, they're children.
That's what I was picking up on. That's what I was picking up on. I
Yeah.
certainly am not going to lose one of my own. But
Wow.
I did. And then I thought about it and I I thought about the trajectory of it. My mom always said, like you and I talked before, that if one of my kids dies, you might as well bury me with them. She would say that. So I'm thinking now, mom had to go first because if Kirsten had died before mom would have died. Kirsten had to go before me because if I would have died, she would have died.
Right.
That's how close we were. So it's like, all right, well, here I guess, yay me, here I am. But that made sense to me that it had to happen that way and that we all planned it together, before we all incarnated down here. And I know that sounds like maybe people are thinking, well, that's a stupid way to think about it and that makes excuses and things like that, but it really doesn't.
It doesn't. And honestly, I'm sorry, your side of the way you think of it is so much more comforting. Uh it just makes you feel on a deeper level. And as you were saying that, like, your mom had to go first, and then your daughter, and then you, and how you unraveled why, what I was feeling at that moment, and then when I was looking at you was, and I said it a couple times now, like, Angel Ellen, and when I hear the last name Noble, I think of, like, I don't know, that name for me seems like angelic too, but I mean, talk about the strength, you have to endure to lose your mom, to lose your daughter. Like, how do you how do you do that other than you're an angel? I mean, how does one get through that? Like, what, I'm sure it wasn't all unicorns and rainbows, and you had
Mm,
some very difficult
very,
times,
yeah,
after,
absolutely.
but you're here right now telling this
Yeah.
story. Like, how does one get to this point to tell a story about it and talk about it and be okay talking about it?
Yeah. For me, it was always, I always thought that Kirsten would be my legacy. She worked with her dad in the insurance business. She
Okay.
was the marketing person and she was very, very good at what she did. But I would say to her, because she was very intuitive and all of the things, I said, someday you and I are going to work together. Not gonna work with your dad forever.
Right.
You're gonna work with your mom,
Yeah.
and I just felt that so deeply, and so she was going to be my legacy. Well, now I'm her legacy, and now we do work together. So, it just wasn't like I had envisioned it to be, but we do
Right.
work together, and she communicates with me all the time. She leaves me hearts. She like a little thing on my deck of snow
Yeah.
size of a quarter, shaped like a perfect heart, like a heart on the side of the peanut butter jar, out of the peanut butter, right? And
Right.
it's like, this doesn't just
Happen.
happen.
Yeah.
Um,
'Cause you're
s
the type of person or that I've known you now that, your husband, I was telling them they're breadcrumbs,
yes,
like, they're signs that are
yes,
you just can't explain it, but it happens so often
yes,
that you know that's who that is,
that's
or,
exactly right.
you know this is going to happen because the dots connect.
Yeah, so when Kirsten died, it took me that was January 31st, and it took me till July to go into her house. And we had some lovely people who volunteered to clean it and
Right,
box things up and do the laundry and things like that, and
right.
I'm forever, forever grateful to them. But, so when I went in, it was Lila, her daughter, and Lila was with her when she died.
How old was the daughter?
She was 12.
Oof,
Yeah, she's 16 now. She's doing wonderfully. Yeah, she's
really?
a remarkable young woman. So we go in, and I knew that she had collapsed. She had been sitting on her bed on the side edge of the bed with her head up against the headboard and her knees off to the side. And when she collapsed, she fell onto her nightstand. And that's when Lila heard her and came in, and all of that ensued. But I had not been in the house. So we walked back into the bedroom, and I said, "Lila, show me where. Show me." And she goes, "Grammy, do you really want to see?" I said, "I do." So she the mattress and everything was off the bed, but the frame was there and the nightstands were there, and the nightstand that Kirsten fell over, I looked at it, and there was a watermark like like a glass would leave.
Yeah,
Heart.
heart.
It was a heart. And
Is
I'm
that when you finally connected?
no, I
No?
knew long before that.
Yeah,
But it was like her telling me, "You were my last thought."
yeah. Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
Yeah, yeah, no, they turn up in the craziest, craziest places. So, like, a week ago Monday, I had a bad grief day, and it happens.
Right.
Uh, I just missed her so much, and I was crying, and I just was sad, and so I'm looking at Instagram, and there's this guy on Instagram, and he sings to animals.
Mhm.
He's got a pink guitar, and he's really neat. So
Right.
he says, "I'm gonna sing for these horses today, and we'll see what they do." Well, I grew up on horseback. Horses
Okay.
were a very important part of my life, and the song that he sang was "Blackbird" by the Beatles. Kirsten always said to me, "Mom, this is my song about you." That was the first thing I heard.
Signs.
Breadcrumbs,
Yeah, breadcrumbs.
breadcrumbs.
Wow. You know?
Yeah. So I think what keeps me going and what has empowered me, for lack of a better word, is just Kirsten would be so upset with me if I gave up.
Right.
She would be very disappointed in me and say, "Mom, you've got so much work left to do.
Yeah.
I'm here right beside you. I know she is. I can't let her down." I
Yeah.
think that's
And how proud, I mean, I can feel that she is, of what you're doing, and, uh, going out there to every parent that's lost a child or what, it doesn't even matter if it's a child, I guess, just somebody you truly love, and to carry on and do what
absolutely.
you're doing and not choosing the easy way out, and carrying on. Because I think about that, with my mom,
Yeah.
she left early and committed suicide, and I
Yeah.
think, like, was that the easy way out? And now that I've talked to her, it's like, no, it was all meant for me, and it was meant, there's reasons why we put these in play,
Right. Right.
but just, to move on because of our loved ones, like, I think deep down we all feel that there's something more out there and there's drive for us to keep going on,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The mission needs to be completed.
Right.
If I gave up, if you gave up because, your mom can't, that's
Yeah.
tough.
Right.
That's tough stuff
It
for a
is.
kid to wrap their head around, and even a grown man to wrap their head around.
Right.
But for us to give up and die with them, that's a disservice to everybody.
It is.
Um,
And then, yeah, thinking on that, like, just you were talking about choosing our plans before we incarnate, and then essentially we get some free
oh,
will. But
100%.
the big life scenarios, like you losing your mom, divorce, yoga, music,
Mhm.
losing your daughter. We're getting into soon this charming young lad of yours. Is this your third husband?
Yes, my 3rd husband.
Yes. But just the life, the story, and what we get to decide what we wanna do and when we want to exit,
Mhm.
is just remarkable. I mean, I don't know how you don't believe in something like that. I mean, years ago when I wasn't who I am
Mhm.
now, uh, I think losing my mom, and then I lost one of my best friends within a short amount of time too, kinda like your 2020
Mhm.
wreckage, it awoke something in me. It was part of me, those sledgehammers, those bad, can't wrap your head around events, those are the most awakening,
Yep.
most tip turning points of
Yep.
our life to become this new Ellen, to
Yes.
become who you need to be.
Yep.
Man,
Yeah, I am not the same person I was before my daughter died.
right.
I am not.
And how many people you think even today, I know this is gonna touch somebody just talking about it today. And then not only that, like, I seen the twinkle in your eyes, the tears getting ready to start, the tears were getting ready to happen in my eyes. And it gets easier telling your story, I can feel for you, telling that with her, but there's still some pain there, because
Yeah.
it's your
Oh
daughter.
my god, I miss her. It's her. I miss her. You know, one of the things was when she died, after she died, and just, wrapping my and I was alone. I didn't I was divorced at that point. I had my 2 dogs, but I came home to an empty house and everybody else had someone.
Right.
So I did a lot of
You.
me for
Right.
me. It was one of the things that I was like, I will never have my picture taken with her again. I will never have that. I cherish the pictures that I have of her now. I don't have a voice message from her.
Yeah.
I can, I can hear her voice in my inner ear.
Right now, yeah, but to
Mhm.
remember her voice,
Yeah.
I know what you're saying, it's different,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And at that point, though, is that, like, you just moving forward and progressing? I mean, it's not like you're not carrying on her spirit and you still talk to her, but I'm just unraveling things for other
Yeah.
people,
Yeah.
Like, I remember that too when I was, like, I still had my mom's Facebook, I still had
Mhm.
her
Oh, I still have,
I
all
still
of
had
the
her
text
yeah, your
messages.
motorcycle, what I
Yeah.
mean? You still have
Yeah.
things, possessions of them that you're holding on to, and when you slowly start, like,
Mhm.
you get rid of that, and then it's like, I don't even remember, really what she looked like, because I see her, I got this picture in my head of what she looks like,
Mhm.
and then is that just becoming the new norm, or I don't
I
know.
think it's more for me anyway, and I watch Lila, my granddaughter, navigating this too, and we spend a fair amount of time together because when we talk about it, it's like it's different for us. I lost my daughter, you lost your mom. And those she brought you to earth and I brought her to earth. And our grief is going to be different. And mine's
R
going to be different than Lila's and hers is going to be different than mine. But this past year, it was 3 years in January. This past year, I'm watching her, I'm just watching her. And the fog is lifting. That's how I describe it.
It's
It's like
I can see it,
little
yeah.
bits of joy are starting to peek through like the sunshine, and now she's like she's just a vibrant 16-year-old girl driving, and hanging with friends and giggling and all of that. And that is so beautiful to me. Now, will she ever stop missing her mom? No. And I will never stop missing my daughter. But it's like grief doesn't ever go away, but it does change if you let it. And if you let it lead you, like last a week ago Monday, I had a bad day. I was sad all day. I don't know what brought it on. It doesn't matter. But when that happens, then you ride that wave, and there's gonna be days, where you don't think about them as much or things like that, but it's not ever going to go away.
That's a hard thing to accept,
Yeah.
just to accept. A lot of us have a hard time. I think when I think of acceptance too, surrender goes hand in hand with it.
Huge.
And many of us have a hard time with just giving in. We're always trying to force
Yes.
and get our way
Yeah.
instead of just surrendering and letting it happen.
When I talk with clients, and this is Kirsten, Kirsten taught me so much in life. She was a very wise soul, but she's also teaching me now.
Right?
Um, when the day that she died, I got up that morning. I knew that this was I had these clients, and then I had a Zoom board meeting that I needed to attend and, hop on to, and that was actually what I was doing when, I got the call from Lila, the initial call, and, it was about 8:30 at night, it was winding down, I just wanted to get off the stupid board meeting and pour a glass of wine and sit down and relax for a while before going to bed, and then I get this call, my daughter dies. I We can't plan. We can plan. We can say, "All right, God, universe, this is my plan for the day. I'm gonna do this. I've got 3 clients and then, I'm
Yeah.
meeting Bill for dinner." Whatever it is.
Yeah. Our trip to Galena.
But yes, our trip to Galena, but we really don't know. So we can say, "Here's my plan for the day. Here's
Uh-huh.
my rough outline,
Yeah.
but you know what? You got the rest of it." I'm surrendering the rest of it to you because
Yeah.
I don't know what's going to happen. So why do we spend so much time and effort trying to think that we can and wasting that energy?
That's deep programming as far as, like, I'm just even thinking, like, generations and generations
Absolutely.
where we think we are I don't know, that's the ego, like,
Making something happen.
yeah, and we're not, but we
No.
think we are, but
Yes.
we've all experienced it, and we've all felt it where we're like, "Oh god, I did this, and I
Yeah.
did that," and then well, then the breadcrumbs start to be less, abundant, and then once you start recognizing, like, "Yeah, shit, I didn't do that," or I mean, you did at a young age, like, my voice, I mean, that's not mine, that's creator gave me something to
Yeah.
use, and I think that's why I see such a angel in you is because you've recognized this and all these synchronicities keep happening to you and you get to tell
Mm.
these stories because you're living in that flow right
Yeah.
now.
It's crazy.
Yeah, you're like you're the river right now. You're not the rock standing on one side or the other rock on the other. You're being the river. You're just flowing with it.
Yeah. I don't see any other way
Uh,
at this point. And Kirsten did teach me that.
Right.
When I was a little bitty girl, um, and I think this is part of my tenacity. I had one of those tractor tire sandboxes,
Oh, yeah.
and I was sitting on the side of it and I heard a voice. And I've only actually heard a voice like you and me talking maybe a handful of times.
Right.
I hear things in my inner ear, but this was a voice talking
Yeah.
to me. And it said, "You are here to do something very special." I've never forgotten that. And
Mhm.
even mostly in my darkest times when I didn't know if I was going to survive, I hung on to that.
Right.
And I still hang on to it today.
Yeah.
I was meant to hear that. And the other thing, and this is going to sound kind of wacky, but go figure, right?
I love it. This is great.
Ellen means light.
Light. What's noble
Yes.
mean?
Noble. I don't know.
No, there's gotta be, and I mean, what do angels carry? Light?
Light.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did
Yeah.
I was just gonna ask you that, with you doing something big and you're meant for big things and this and that, like, how does that feel? You know?
Well, it feels daunting, but it also feels very valid, or I would have let go of it at some point in my life. Like, Ellen, you're a nutcase, which I say that to myself a lot.
Yeah.
You're the weirdest person I know. I say that a lot.
Yeah.
But no, it feels valid.
Right.
It just and it I was little. I was probably preschool.
Yeah.
Probably preschool.
Now, hearing it then and then hearing it now, because 'cause I'm sure you've heard it a few times now, you contemplate and reflect on those moments throughout your life, like, "Yeah, that was from that," or, "Yes, that was that moment," or today, like, "No, I'm still developing that new
Oh
moment."
yeah.
Yeah, do you
It's
feel that?
that.
Yeah,
It's still developing. I
yeah.
mean, it's and I don't ever want that to quit.
Right, it's like chasing the carrot,
Uh-huh.
a little
Uh-huh.
bit,
It is.
it's that drive for you.
Mhm. It is. I don't wanna stop growing. I don't
Yeah.
wanna stop discovering.
I think, well, I don't know how people do that either, honestly. Like, I was just thinking of your generation and like retirement and like
Mhm.
my dad, Chelsea's dad. Just
Mhm.
there's a lot of baby boomers retiring
Yeah.
and what they want to do with themselves. And I see a lot of them just like, well, I worked my whole entire life. Like, this is my time to enjoy and my time not to do anything.
Mhm.
And I look at myself, I'm young, so I got a lot more years to get to that point, but I just can't see myself just sitting there not doing anything and not learning, and those people that I see do that don't last as long, and you see maybe dementia or Alzheimer's or these diseases happen in those ages, and I think partially due because of not wanting to grow,
Right.
wanting to chase that,
Percent.
yeah,
Yes.
carrot. I'm just keep thinking I'm following a rabbit right now, and
Uh-huh.
I'm like, "Get your carrot." Uh but yeah, and it's just nice to reflect, on those moments and your journey, I mean, that you're on, have been on, and meeting you, I just feel so honored to know you and to hear your story and, like, just with touching on grief, and I'll go back to that moment we shared with, you getting a little twinkle in your eye, talking about your daughter and how I felt feeling that and giving me hope. I think talking about that grief and what you've endured, it just brings hope, to today, to tomorrow, and to leading into meeting new people and meeting new loves of our lives.
Yes.
And you getting on from back to Ellen's story, we're hopping back on that road right now where we'll speed track a little bit. You move on from the second husband, you went through COVID, you went through your daughter passing to meeting who I know, Sir William.
Mhm.
How tell me about that. Like, how do the stars align
Oh,
so
Lord.
yeah.
So, I had just kind of resigned myself to the fact that, I might be alone. And it was a weird thing because during that 3 years between getting divorced and meeting Bill, I did not have one date. It was
Yeah.
like, I'm like, I must be invisible to the male population or something. But I'm like, all right, whatever, I guess. And so I would stand out in my backyard and I would talk to God and I would look up at the stars and I would say, where is my person? And the answer I would get is he's closer than you think. And I'm like, well,
Yeah.
what does that mean?
More
And
breadcrumbs,
more,
please.
please, more. So, I had a client. I have a well, she's a dear friend now, Molly. And, she came to me for a medical intuition body scan, and then I got her singing with a concert chorale, and so we just, became closer. And then she's a Reiki master now, but she was level 2, and she wanted to start doing, she has a big girl job down at the University of Iowa in the nursing
Mhm.
education department, but she wanted to kinda do Reiki as a side hustle. Well, Bill was her Reiki teacher, and he practiced out of his home. So she wanted to talk to somebody who rents a space and
Yeah.
all the things. And so she's like, well, duh, I'm going to talk to Ellen. So she came in and sat down, kind of like we're sitting now. You've been in my
Right.
space. And so we're talking about intake forms and, all this stuff. And then she looks at me, she goes, you should really get a Reiki session with Bill. His Reiki is really powerful. I'm like, oh, yeah, that would be nice. I
Yeah.
haven't received Reiki for, give it all the time,
Yeah,
of course.
usually it's just me. I
Yeah,
haven't,
and so I'm like, "Yeah, yeah," and then she looks at me and she gets this it's like a click went off in her, and I can see it in my head. She goes, "Are you seeing anyone?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, "No."
Oh,
And she's like, "Oh, well, Bill just turned his love light on and he's blah, 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 blah." And I'm like, "Molly,
no.
no, no." I said, "I will schedule Reiki with
Yeah,
Bill, but
that's it.
that's it."
Right.
So, I go home and I call
Were
and
you nervous?
no.
No?
Oh,
Just like, "Ah, I'm just gonna go."
just gonna
Yeah,
go get Reiki.
yeah.
So, he doesn't answer. I left a message. He called me right back. He'd been outside and we talked for probably half an hour.
Okay.
And it was like really nice conversation. And so scheduled for the next week, I think it was. And so I drive to his house and he's in Marion and I'm in Cedar Rapids, 5 miles apart, closer than you think. So I've got a pair of leggings on, a long sleeve t-shirt, just me, no extra
Yeah. Yeah, you
preparation.
ain't showing off or anything. You're just like,
No,
sure, I'm
I'm
gonna go get
going
some
for
Reiki.
Reiki.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So
I want to
I'm,
be comfortable and,
yes,
as we all should be,
yes.
you know?
So I park my car, walk up the sidewalk. He opens the door and he's like, "Well, hello, Ellen." And I literally looked at him and went, "I'm in trouble." I knew it.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. I knew I was going to marry Dwayne before we even dated. I knew the night that I met Terry that my life had changed. I took one look at Bill and I said, "I am in trouble."
Yeah, you knew.
I knew.
Did
S-
Bill know, you think?
Well, we
Or like, have you
well,
talked about that?
he was the professional at that point though.
Oh,
He's the
yeah.
practitioner. So
Right,
he's
right.
thinking, practitioner thoughts.
Yeah, he's
And
just being
yeah,
very yeah.
so we go into his house and we sit and we talk probably for probably close to 2 hours before we even do Reiki.
Okay.
And then had the session. It was amazing. Came back out and talk some more. Teresa, who for our listeners is my best
Good
friend
friend,
and
yeah.
also super close with Justin.
Yeah.
Um, was waiting at my house because we hadn't it was this was in March and we hadn't celebrated Christmas together yet.
Okay.
So she was at my house and I said to Bill, I said, "I have to go. My best friend is at my house
Yeah.
waiting for me." And so he says, "Okay." So we scheduled that we were going to just do exchanges.
Right.
So we scheduled 2 weeks out and he said to me, "I would like more time with you. Can we have more time to talk? Can you block off more time?" I'm like,
Yeah.
"Yes, sure." So I get home and I walk in and Teresa's like, "Well, how was your Reiki?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, "It was good." And she looks at me, she goes, "What's going on?"
Yeah.
I'm like, "I don't know."
Right.
But that was the beginning, and then from then on,
Did
we
she
were
know? Did Teresa know right when you pulled into
I
your
must
house
have
was
had some look on my face,
well, you were
like,
glowing or something,
yeah,
and
gobsmacked.
yeah, and she's like, "Oh shit."
Yeah,
Wow.
so that was the beginning of that.
Right.
And then it was all the, like, 8th grade stuff would go through my head, like, we would talk, I mean, hours and hours and hours we would sit and talk about
We're
everything.
yeah.
And I would be sitting there going in my 8th grade brain, "I wonder if he likes me. I think he might like me."
Yeah.
And then he'd touch me, put
Yeah.
his hand on my knee or something. I'm like, "I think he likes me. Does he like
Isn't that
me?"
fun?
Yeah,
Like, really, like, think about that, and you've experienced this with a few times, but just to
not
do
like this.
yeah, okay, but
Not like
just to
this.
to be okay, go from, you've been around the block now,
Oh, yeah.
and to go back to that giggly,
Oh my god,
fun
yes.
child, you
Yes.
know?
Yes, that new love thing.
Yes, it's beautiful.
Yeah, so Bill, and I don't know if he shared this with you, Justin, but after he got divorced, he was divorced for 20 years and had 3 what I would consider to be serious relationships.
Right.
He was engaged once for about 6 months, and he started writing letters. Did he tell you this?
He told me the story about love
Yeah.
letters to his future wife.
Yes.
Yeah, or future soulmate.
Yes.
Yeah.
So he would write letters and put them in just he would never read them again. He just put them in a manila envelope. And so 3 months into us meeting, he gave me those letters.
Was it like one a day or
No,
was it
he just
like
gave them to me and there's 2 big manila envelopes
yeah.
and he just gave them to me. He did not reread them.
So was it you though? Did you like not like go full in? Like I'm just thinking of me and some ice cream, like going full ham on the whole tub of ice cream, like versus like you in these letters, were you checking yourself like only one letter a day I'll
Oh,
read?
no.
Or did you
Oh,
go
no.
all in?
No, I sat down and I read them,
All of them.
all of them.
Oh my
And it
gosh.
was cute because in some of them and they were clearly written to me. It was the
Yeah.
weirdest thing. And he would say, "I think I might have met you."
Yeah.
And then I'd be like, "No, no, no, no." I'm talking to the letter, right?
You're
"No,
right.
no, it's not me.
Yeah.
It's not me." And then he'd say, "I wish I just knew your name," or well, and then the weird thing was that when I was working at Illuminations, where
Yeah.
I started my practice when I moved back to Iowa, Bill would go there for Reiki shares,
Shares, and you were
and he
there.
would see my name on the whiteboard, Ellen Noble,
Right.
blah, blah, and never one
Your
time.
paths didn't cross. I mean, he was
No,
aware of your name and, you were aware well, you weren't aware, but you
no.
knew you were in the same that's crazy,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. I mean, he
Like, why
must
not then?
I don't know. I think okay, here's what I think.
Yeah,
He went through that really, really rough time physically.
right.
So Bill, in his own words, at one point was a ninja,
Yeah,
and he was built like
a ninja.
a ninja. And so when he went through that terrible, terrible time of his body, like literally betraying him and breaking down on him, we talk about this. His ego was his physiology.
Yeah, I was dying, and he wasn't ready for you.
So
Yeah.
he had to go through that. My ego was my heart. I had to lose my daughter.
Oh,
I
yeah.
had to feel the ultimate heartbreak.
Yes.
So we both were going through those things pretty darn close to each other.
Right.
So, and yeah, and it's weird. We both went to Iwalu Bible Camp up by Strawberry
I
Point
know
when we
you
were
well, I
growing
went
up.
there, yeah.
Yeah, he drove through Strawberry Point and drove past both of my childhood homes for 30 years, going deer hunting up to Prairie du Chien. So it's like we were,
Close.
yeah,
You were always
yeah,
close. That
yeah,
is just I mean, guys, we're back on the breadcrumbs again here,
yeah,
like, listen to this story, and,
yeah.
like, I remember when I heard that story the first time, I think we were out to eat when you guys were telling this, and I touched a little bit on this with Bill's podcast, but the movie The Notebook, you've seen The Notebook, is just one
Yeah.
of the most
Oh
beautiful
god, it's beautiful.
romantic stories, and, like, your guys' story, I'm sorry, blows The Notebook out of the water, and it's like I think we joked about that when we were out to eat, like, we need to start filming and bringing this microphone everywhere every
Yeah,
time I'm
right?
around you because the stories, like, they're so beautiful and so like, you can't make this shit up stories, it's just they're perfect, that's what they are, and for you and him to I mean, you guys are just a powerhouse couple. Like Bill is, and it's kind of same story, really. You had to go through your frogs and princes or whatever, both of you. And then you both had to go through some shit, and then look at you now and where you're at. It's kind of like the grand finale,
It is.
like it's like you went through your stuff to become who you are now. So now you two have the best of each other and the
Yes.
strongest parts of
Parts of each other.
yes.
Yeah, I think about that a lot and
Mm,
about how it would have been fun to raise children with him and things like that, but I was a different person then,
right,
and I had to be and I would talk to God and the universe and say, "I am working my ass off over here
right.
on me
Yeah, yeah.
to
Hello.
become the best me that I can be to get ready for him.
Yeah.
He better be over there working his ass off getting ready for me."
As it should be.
And he was, and I love that, this is a late in life
Yeah,
romance.
right.
This is another cool thing. So I was born in 1958. This year, Bill turned 58. Bill was born in 1967. I turned 67.
That's
Isn't it?
crazy.
It's the weird
It is.
things.
Well, it's not weird, like,
It
we're
is
talking
weird.
there's synchronicities all over, and, like, as you said, I was born in 1958, my mom was born in 1958.
Yeah,
So it's like,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
just,
So for us to meet at this stage in life and to have this beautiful I never knew. I think somewhere down deep inside I did know that love could be this way, and I think
right.
I pined for it.
Yeah,
I think my whole life I was missing him,
yeah.
waiting for that, waiting for him.
Do you think on, like, the whole, like, twin flames and my soulmate and stuff, like, do you believe in that?
I do. There's a gal, and I haven't seen her post anything lately. She was on Twitter, on X. And her name, ironically, was Ellen as well. I can't think of her last name right now, but she's a seer,
Yeah, yeah.
and she wrote this thing that I saw pretty early on in Bill and my relationship. We were pretty committed by this point, but it was about twin flames and about how twin flames relationships are generally very contentious
Mhm.
because we're a mirror for each other and we show each other, who we truly are and things like that. But there are also the twin flames who come back together having done their work.
Right.
And it's like a completion lifetime usually,
Yeah.
where then they come back ready for it, really, really ready to work together and be more powerful as a whole than they could be separately. Does
Right.
that make sense?
It does. Like what you just said there, you went through your shit, you met your final, prince, and you feel this deep connection with his soul. And you talked about young and reflecting, and I'm thinking of myself right now and me and my wife. And there are some times where we test each other
Oh
like
god,
none
yeah.
other. And looking back at it, like, and even now, I believe in that bigger, like, soul, like, it's if I didn't have her pushing and testing me or and even loving, I mean, we're compassionate with love and everything like that too, but it's just I would not be where I'm at,
No.
I would be and then there's nothing wrong with, like, the 9 to 5 guy or whatever
No,
like that,
no.
but it's just like she pushes me to a level that nobody's ever pushed me in my life, and I love getting pushed, and that you're saying that, like, with the twin flames, I feel like it's rare because I don't see a whole lot of it in people I know, you know
Mhm.
what I
I
mean?
do.
Yeah, like, when you see it,
Yeah.
and it's kinda weird, you know what I mean?
It is.
Like, even people, like, when I see, like, you and, Bill in the beginning, I'm like, "Oh, they're still in the honeymoon phase, give it time," I know, but it's like, it's like,
Mhm.
man, that's like, a love to be desired,
Mhm.
and it doesn't hide, and it's not fake,
Mm-mm.
it's unconditional,
It is, and it's interesting, I see people watch us,
Yeah.
and in particular, my first husband, of course, we share grandchildren, and he's remarried, and he looks and the way that he looks at us, like, I mean, it's like, "Wonder what's going on there," you know? And I'm like, "Well, nothing that you would ever understand." But I think it is a soul evolution thing, though, too, that,
Yeah.
we have to well, and for me, one of my biggest lessons in this life has been learning to love myself.
Yeah.
Because that has been a real, real challenge for me.
A lot of
So
people, I
so I
mean
had to get that squared away before I could be with Bill,
right.
because he deserves better than me being mean to myself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we touched on that a little bit, like, just and I've said it many times, or maybe we didn't say it on air, but to give the best you to
Yes,
everybody else, you have to be okay in here.
you have to.
You can't just say, "I wanna help people," or, "I wanna help them heal," or this and that, not look in the own mirror
Y
and see how you're doing, and that goes with addiction, like, with
yes.
myself, our good friend Sam actually said
Yeah.
that to me the other day. She's like, "Justin, I think you're addicted to breaking addictions." You know? And I'm like, "Shut."
Well, we need to break that addiction.
Yeah.
I can hypnotize you for that, by the way.
Isn't that crazy?
That is really funny. Huh.
But it can be scary,
Mhm.
loving yourself and thinking you're worthy,
Yes.
because we've been told that you need to be this person, this
Yes.
person, this person, when you're young, and let's be real, that's when everything's retained
Yeah.
is in that theta state
Yep.
back to your, hypnotizing. We don't even know it as adults that we're carrying this thing.
Mhm. Subconscious brain.
Correct. And if more and more people would understand that and do some inner work, and maybe they would find and be ready for that true love finally.
Mhm.
Maybe they would attract this certain thing in their life that they've
Right.
been longing for because, at the end of the day, it's you and God, and everybody else is just
Oh,
jewelry,
s
It's
s
extra.
accessories.
Yes, it's beautiful things that we all
Mhm.
long for and we're here and wanting to experience.
Mhm.
But again, at the end of the day, it's you, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, and I do think that that is and I tell people this, clients and well, I tell a lot of people this, but I think our most important work here is to become the best self that we can be. The
Beautiful.
truest self that we can be to be our most authentic self. That is our most important work here.
Yeah. Not hiding.
not hiding. And the closer we get to that, the more
Where do you
things
get where do
open
you get
up.
the courage to not hide?
Well, I think again, Kirsten teaching me. We have a limited time here.
Yeah.
Um,
We're definitely gonna be back here with some other
yeah.
podcasts together, without a doubt,
But I
because
mean,
there's a lot of different
yeah.
avenues we can go down to. But I don't know. Yeah, I was just thinking on just kind of everything we've talked about so
Mhm.
far, and I guess we're gonna start wrapping up here
Yeah.
just because of time. But I mean, the message I'm getting for, like, yeah, telling you about Bill, like, kind of if I had to put a label on today, what we talked about and what we went through, one thing that stands out most to me is working on and loving yourself. And from there, grief becomes easier,
Manageable,
manageable.
navigable.
Yes.
Yeah.
Um, and to be aware, guys, that there is more going on to this world than you may recognize. You know, you could be very narrow minded and small window looking through a keyhole, or you could really open your eyes, expand your horizon, expand. Yes,
Yes,
expand.
expand.
Yeah, you know.
Expand.
Do you have any final messages or anything you'd like to, I don't know, last 5 minutes share with anybody?
Gosh. Well, mostly just be you.
Be you.
Be who you are. Every day strive to be your best self. And some days that's not going to work so well
Right.
because we are human. And also be kind to people because one of my favorite phrases is blessings on your path because you see people doing stupid things. We do. We
Yeah.
see that. That's their path. That's their soul's journey where they are at the soul level. Blessings on your path. It's
Yeah.
not my path. So try to be less judgmental. I mean, we all get that way.
Oh, for sure.
But tune in here
Mhm.
first. Let all this go on out here. It's going to anyway.
Right.
Why invest your precious, precious time here on earth when you could be spending it doing good things or doing nothing?
Right.
Nothing is a valid thing too. We
Yeah.
need rest, but focus more on this and making this the best that it can be.
The heart.
Just you, the heart of you, the
Mhm.
soul. Raise your own bar.
Right.
Raise your own bar. Challenge
Right.
yourself to become better.
That's beautiful. Wow.
Thank you. Thank you for this.
Oh my
It was so
gosh.
good.
Where can people, if they're listening to this, get a hold of you, or
Yeah.
maybe you don't want to get a hold of because you're too busy and
No, no,
you're in
no.
love?
No, I always want to help people.
Right.
If you go to Synergy, SYNERGY -CR.com, that's the bigger entity that I work within. You can pull up my bio and all of my offerings,
Who you are,
my
yeah.
menu, who I am.
Yeah. And they can get it like through email or phone
My
or
email is on there, and also we schedule through a thing called, I think we just went from schedule this starts with a V. Anyway, you can schedule online. I don't know that my phone number's on there, but email
right.
definitely is.
And your cup of tea is hypnotherapy.
Reiki, hypnotherapy, past life regression, medical intuitive body scans, and spiritual guidance, which is like spiritual mentoring and
But yeah,
intuitive readings. Yeah, through
that's
through
quite the
the spirit.
portfolio. That's everything. Everybody heard that out there. There's quite a list there. Holy cow. I've been to a couple of those. We could go on some other ones too. She is amazing. Like, guys, this woman, this angel here right now. I'm putting you on that pedestal. I'm sorry. But then after this, you can come back down, okay?
I'm. s-
I love you, Ellen. Thank you for coming on.
I love you. Thank you, Justin.
Yes. Thank you, everybody.